Ще те обичам, Hi everybody, welcome back to Nasedyanka, the channel where I talk about Bulgarian culture, history, traditions and faith. If you're new to this channel, you are welcome to subscribe if you're interested in that kind of stuff, or not. If you're not, if you're a returning friend, then it's exciting because, like I've said before, every time we kind of reconnect, it feels like the world is small and significant and connected. So today I have prepared a Bulgarian folktale for you, which I would love to share. I've taken all my little cheat sheet notes because I translate them from the Bulgarian language into English, and I love taking notes as I think about those folktales. So I will share with you a classical Bulgarian tale that's called Kosse Bosse. Now, Kosse Bosse is a small black bird. Literally in English stands for blackbird. And when I looked into that kind of bird in general, resources in the internet told me that they sing, and that the blackbird's song is one of the most arguably beautiful, maybe like the best loved kind of songs they associated with Europe, different countries in Europe. Well, it's very popular in Bulgaria, especially in Bulgarian folklore, like we see here. And so, Kosse Bosse is a childish little kind of a riddling kind of way of referring to this bird. The actual Bulgarian word for it is kos. But for English, for the sake of English, I'm going to stick with blackbird. The author who created this story, his name is Bossileck, and he is one of the classic Bulgarian writers. They say that his texts are simple and sincere. He would use a sense of humor, kind of playfulness, and play with sounds, like I said, riddles. When you think about this, sounds and riddles, they evoke emotion. That's vibration. The way we pronounce somebody's name, the way we speak of somebody or to somebody, it can evoke emotion. It can also tell about how we feel. And so I'm in love with the depth of stories like this. Now, before I jump into this, I do have a question for you. This is something to reflect for your own sake. But, I woke up in the morning from a dream where I was surrounded by sound. I could hear this beautiful melody, and the dream was very special to me. I saw many people from my past, and one of my grandmothers sang a song. It was a Bulgarian folk song to me. But then I woke up to the sounds of this beautiful melody, and the whole day long I've been humming it to myself. I will sing it to myself. I will hum it. I will ha-ha it. I will try different pitches, different voices. I don't remember the exact words. I was able to find the original copy, which I'm actually sharing with you all, and the link in the description link as well, if you would like to hear how a Bulgarian song sounds. This is not a folk song, but it is a classical Bulgarian song. We have so much diversity with that as well. So the question is, has that ever happened to you? And more so, do you allow yourself to hum? Do you allow yourself to sing? And what's a safe place for you to let yourself sing from the bottom of your heart, to sing the rhythm that you feel in that moment, the rhythm of your thoughts, the rhythm of your emotions? I had read somewhere a long time ago that some cultures' folklore would say that if we can talk, then we can sing. If we can walk, then we can dance. And when you think about it, every single body movement is a dance through life. How we feel affects how we move our bodies. And if we really contemplate on this and take control in terms of self-awareness, in terms of vigilance, in terms of being mindful, in Orthodox terms, we would say dispassionate. Dispassion is something like mindfulness is in Eastern cultures. In other words, we think, we reflect on it, we're fully aware, and we don't have to be swayed. We don't have to be persuaded. We don't have to be influenced. We're conscious. If we want to make a choice, we make a choice. If we want to feel something and follow that emotion, we do it, but we're conscious. And above all, we don't have to be swayed by the different emotions. We can see them, and and still make choices that are in sync with our integrity. This is very deep and very important here. And so when I woke up this morning with this song and it was resounding so vividly in my ears, I could hear it, I found life in humming it and in experimenting with different pitches. And surely, I had never practiced this song. I'm not singing it the way the original song, performs it. And I just wanted to bring it up. It's okay. It's okay, and it's human to do that, to allow our hearts to emanate and sing in the world. As a matter of fact, what's really most concerning is that in life, modern life, I notice so many people who shy away. They don't want to be heard, they don't want to be seen, they feel afraid or unwanted, they haven't experienced people's interest, and they develop this toxic sense of shame, like I shouldn't exist, like I should disintegrate, I should be quiet, I should disappear. And my heart breaks for people like this, more so because I've had so many different discussions with, who thinks how, but what comes to mind is it's so interesting how so many people who actually give or enforce upon us, because I believe most of us have experienced this kind of feeling like I'm a burden, I'm too much, I shouldn't sing, I shouldn't emanate, I shouldn't be. So I believe most of us have experienced this toxic shame. The thing is that it is something that's dumped upon us. Basically, shame is different from guilt. Guilt is a feeling where if we do something wrong, we can compare it and contrast it to our internal system of integrity and morals. We can see that, okay, I did something wrong, now I can correct it. And it's good to feel guilt, it's really healthy. And above all emotions tell us a clue. It doesn't mean we have to follow them, but they give us an idea of what's going on inside of us and what's happening around us. But the emotion or the feeling of shame is the one that kind of like comes with, I don't deserve, I am bad. Not just I do bad, I did bad, but I am bad. And shame is developed from an early age. Different resources that I've studied over the years will say that researchers have found out that shame is kind of like learned, like people enforce it upon us. Like when they say shame on you, how dare you? It kind of connotes and means like gives us the sense of what a bad person I am. If I shine, I'm gonna blind people. If I sing, I'm going to deafen them. If I share my emotions, I'm going to overwhelm them. Then I better disappear, then I shouldn't be here. And it breaks my heart to think about this, but here's one thing. This shame actually heals by talking about it. People coming out and sharing, people actually being vulnerable and literally having their song, literally having your voice, emanating your heart's energy, because energy, your heart has energy that has vibration, it emanates. You can sense, we can sense people from a distance or from up close. We can pray for people, prayer has emanation. Our voice is also based on different types of vibration. Our brain, our thoughts, there's brainwave activity, brain waves that scientists have connected with different states of mind, whether we're focused, we're awake, or we're dreaming, or we are asleep, in a deep state of sleep. All that changes the vibration of our brain waves. So I thought of this folk tale of Kosse Bosse, of the Black Bird, by Bossileck, our Bulgarian author, because and I call it a she, the bird. She's this black bird that built a nest. And she reminded me of the human tale, which I will reflect with you in a little bit. So let's start at this. I'm going to read it to you the way I translated it. And I'm curious about what your thoughts are as well, so feel free to share if you have any insights. Okay, it goes like this. Kosse Bosse. So the Kosse Bosse, a blackbird, built her little nest. She laid eggs. Auntie Fox came under the nest and said, "Birdie, black birdie, give me an egg. My dad and mom came to visit. I'll make them a soup." The tiny bird gave her one egg. The next day, Auntie Fox came back once again and said, "Birdie, black birdie, my older siblings, my brother and sister, came to visit me. Give me an egg." The bird gave her an egg just once again. This day goes like this, the next day goes like that. Only one egg was left in the nest. Auntie Fox, the fox, returned yet again, and so she said, "Birdie, black birdie, I don't have, give me an egg." So the blackbird responded, "I don't have any more, Auntie Fox. If you don't have any eggs left, then I'm going to eat you," threatened impulsively the fox. The bird began to cry. She gave away her last and single egg. In the morning, a dog passed through the forest. It saw the bird crying and sobbing, and so he asked, "Why are you crying, blackbird?" "How wouldn't I cry, puppy? Every morning Auntie Fox comes and takes an egg from me. She took them all from me. I couldn't hatch any chicks this year. She will come back again this morning. I have nothing to give her, and now she's going to eat me, myself." "Oh, don't cry, Kosse Bosse, blackbird. I'm going to hide right here in the pile of leaves. So when the fox comes back to ask you for yet another egg, go ahead and tell her, I don't have any eggs left, fox, but there is a hen in the pile of leaves, so go get her." The dog hid in the pile of leaves. The fox returned to the bird and said as usual, "Birdie, black birdie, give me an egg." "I don't have any eggs, Aunt Fox. However, I have a hen right over there in the big pile of leaves. If you really want her, go take her." The cunning fox was so happy. She rushed to dig right through the pile of leaves. The dog jumped out and chased after her. She runs, it chases her. She runs, it chases her. At last, she reached her hut and hid right in the hole. The dog crouched in front of the hole and began to prowl, staring at it. It was waiting for the fox to reach out and grab her by the neck. The fox did not know that the dog was prowling outside, and so she began to ask her legs, "Tell me, little legs, what did you say when the dog was chasing you?" "Run, Foxy, run! Run, Foxy, run! Oh, dear precious footsies, Auntie will buy you slippers." "What about you, little eyes? What did you say when the dog was chasing you?" "Oh, we too, we called out, 'Oh, run, Foxy, run! Run, Foxy, run!' Oh, dear precious eyes, Auntie will buy you glasses." "And what about you, ears? What did you say when the dog chased you?" "Oh, we too cried out, 'Run, Foxy, run! Run, Foxy, run!' Oh, dear precious ears of mine, Auntie's going to buy you earrings." "And you, little tail, what did you say when the dog was chasing you?" "I said, 'Hold dog the fox by the tail, hold dog the fox by the tail.'" "Really? Wait until I give you to the dog." And so the fox stuck her tail out. The dog grabbed her by the tail and started pulling her apart. The fox pulls in, the dog pulls out, she pulls in, the dog drives her out, At last, the dog pulled her all the way out. He jumped over her. He tore her coat apart as well. The end. There you go. So let's think about this for a moment. What a story. A short, fun sounding folktale. I love it so much because the tale is symbolic. The appellations are symbolic. The animals bear symbol. For example, the fox, especially when we say kumalisa. Now, in my previous video, I talked to you about Bulgarian ties, relationships, kinship, and I honestly don't have a direct translation to this in the English language, but kuma could be like a cousin, could be like sponsor, basically an older female that's respected. And I chose to translate her as Auntie Fox because that sounds a little bit derogatory in English. Like, she basically represents this higher rank that's supposed to be respected. However, as you can see, she falls into her own cunningness, into her own deception. She appeals to the blackbird in a derogatory manner by calling it Kosse Bosse. It's a very, how can I say, it kind of rhymes. It's a derogatory term. So that's why I said birdie, you know, little birdie, tiny birdie. Basically, she looks down upon the Kosse Bosse, just like a perpetrator does. By the way, perpetrators, manipulators, narcissists, abusers, they all have a pathology. Their behaviors are so predictable when, you know, somebody gets to study them. If you really watch their patterns, they can in the end fall victim into their own patterns. That's what the tale of the fox in the end symbolizes. If you notice, the dog, he symbolizes the friendship, a loyal friend. The dog refers to the blackbird as blackbird. He calls him, yes, Kosse Bosse, but his tone when he speaks about the fox, he doesn't call her auntie, or he calls her the fox. He has a little more of a realistic tone, which connotes more of respect, more of being down to earth. The parts of the fox. Well, in therapy, there is such a realm. Some of you may be, you know, familiar with this, but some of you might be interested. Internal family systems, and it teaches us to talk in terms of, to understand the human system in terms of parts. Like, we can say, part of me feels angry, part of me feels happy, part of me feels this, part of me feels that. That's what the fox's parts symbolize here as well. She has her legs, footsies. She has her precious eyes and ears and, you know, and her precious tail. But as you can see, the tail betrays her. And the tail is what drags. The tail is what leaves a trail in the end. And we have another saying in Bulgarian language, "Налажата краката са къси." In other words, the legs or the distance that lice can travel is short. The legs don't last too long. Lies will catch up with their own spinning circle and will fall. Now, the fox reminds me of a manipulative personality that takes advantage of victims. And what we know about that, for example, you know, there is such a thing as grooming behaviors. Those perpetrators will follow a particular track. Number one, they're going to identify their victim. Number two, they're going to go and try to gain their trust. They're going to try to shorten their physical distance. Then they're going to use cajoling and cunning language. They're going to bluff as though their own inappropriate behaviors are okay, or maybe that they are the fault of the victim. Then they're going to use threats. Well, that's exactly what our Auntie Fox does as well. And Auntie Fox, again, it not only shows us the sense of how cunning that personality character is, but also how ridiculous and how easy she ends up being. Um, so, of course, she takes away Kosse Bosse's all of her eggs. Kosse Bosse loses. And what do the eggs symbolize? Well, that's the core, something so precious and so intimate to somebody. What's a core? We all have core values. We all precious things that come from us. This can be our own ideas, our own opinions, our own reflections, our own integrity, our own feelings. Like, yes, it's one thing to grow and question coming from free will. Like, I choose to do this, I choose to. But it's a different thing when somebody steals it from us and forces it or imposes. And again, that's what the fox does. But in this specific case, those eggs are her family. They're her babies, her children. We can nurture anything that we create. And I stop on core values on this principle because our morals, our values, they make up who we are. They are our integrity. And some of us, I hope, some of you guys also well know that good boundaries, healthy boundaries protect that integrity. As a matter of fact, Christianity is that one religion that teaches healthy boundaries, and I'm exhilarated to read, in the early fathers and in many Christian, examples from the first centuries, examples of how we have been always encouraged to set healthy boundaries. In other words, being able to protect our core morals, to stand up for our core belief, is the ultimate self-care. And it can be done in a very respectful and dispassionate, human manner. But Kosse Bosse, our blackbird, she doesn't know that. She is the epitome of somebody who's been victimized, somebody who is so scared that under the pressure of manipulation, she succumbs and she gives in and she says yes and she says okay, and so she loses and she's suffering until she meets that dog. And what does she do? She's vulnerable enough to share her tears with him and to tell her truth. So I often think about this in terms of what shame does to people. Shame is that toxic experience of disconnecting people. It actually stems from pride in Christian terms, because shame kind of dictates that I already know nobody's going to understand me, and I know best, others don't get it, which is true. Part of it is true that many people in the world don't get it and they do impose shame. But also, it's not all the way true, because many other people yet suffer from shame themselves, and they suffer from losses and abuses and manipulation and all that stuff that's described in this story here. So this blackbird that has this beautiful song and is associated with, again, freedom, with a beautiful voice, with melody. I bet that she must have stopped singing when that happened with her. She confides in the dog, who symbolizes a loyal friend. And that's how she ends up protected, surviving, and gaining yet another chance to, lay her eggs and hopefully hatch eggs in the following year. Hopefully learn that she no longer has to respond to bullies like the fox alone, and that she can rely on friends, that not all canine creatures are bad. The fox, the wolf, and the dog, they say, come from the same family, actually, animal family, but the dog is a loyal friend, whereas the fox clearly is a deceiver. And so with this, she ends up falling into her own trap of lies. I wonder if you can relate and what thoughts you all might have about this. This is just, this was just something that I was reflecting on, and it perfectly fit in with this day. It just feels like it just wraps up perfectly well with the song that I woke up dreaming of hearing, and it was so beautiful. So I'm going to wrap up here. I'll let you ponder and marinate over this. I hope that it brings some wisdom, but above all, that it brings you hope and encouragement to guard your core values, your core faith, to know that you are not alone, and that there are others who can be taken advantage of and have been taken advantage of in the world. We Bulgarian Orthodox, we know that we live in a fallen world. This is an imperfect world, and so mishaps are going to happen. Again, lies, theft, deception are going to take place, but we don't have to be alone. Maybe I can relate that also to my whole immigration story, moving from East Europe, from Bulgaria to the Western world. I noticed this predominant spirit of individualistic kind of lifestyle in the West versus the collectivist in the East. I'm used to knowing my neighbors and talking with them. I'm used to pouring my heart out to them, singing my song to them, for better and for worse. I'm used to hearing their songs. I'm used to sitting at the table with 50 people from my family, and all of us sing literally, and we dance and we laugh and we cry and we express frustrations and we give each other support. And moving to a Western country was for me such a huge culture shock. I wondered if I was still on planet Earth. To live in a place where my neighbors wouldn't even greet me, people would avoid eye contact, people would rush to get to work and kind of prioritize work over their families. It just seems so misaligned. I'm kind of thinking of how a chiropractor will adjust a human body, but in this case, it's like it just doesn't fit. It just, people seem so lulled and out of space and out of touch in this rushed culture. And what's even sadder is that it's not even just the West anymore. It is a toxic spirit that's hovering throughout the whole planet Earth nowadays. That is the saddest part. But on the positive side, it is something that I hope that we can all keep in mind and in perspective. And if you care for the truth, and if you're someone who cherishes folklore, then so be it, because this is what keeps us connected with our ancestors. Toxic shame that destroys the soul, a human being, thrives in disconnection. Read, research it, read about it. There's so much nowadays written by psychologists and clinicians, and therapists. But the one thing that cures shame is being vulnerable and talking about it and connecting. So yes, who is that person that you can trust? Who is that trusted, loyal friend in your life that you can be yourself with all your goofiness and frustrations? We all carry mistakes. We all make mistakes. We have to be able to confess and confide. The Orthodox Church allows us that because by nature, the tradition gives upon us this, rule to carry out our confession to a trusted priest. We Orthodox are instructed to find an Orthodox Christian spiritual father who becomes our guide, our confessor. And this is so healing. There's been also research that shows the amount of depression that drops and the amount of anxiety that drops when people follow the Orthodox Christian tradition, of course, in her real form. And I say that because in previous videos I've mentioned about people trying to twist and turn it into what we know nowadays, recognized as the ecumenical heresy. It is a heresy. It does exist. So be careful and read about it. And if you don't know anything about it, feel free to see my previous videos, because I talk a lot about Bulgarian culture, and along with that goes Orthodoxy. It's just indelible. So yes, I hope that this finds you well. I hope that you rest assured that you are not alone. And even if you're in this period of time in your life where you are surrounded by many toxic people that you truly cannot rely on, which is, it happens in life. Hey, we are human beings, we live in a fallen world. Maybe remember also that if you're Orthodox, we are surrounded also by the saints, and they are living all around us, and they are our family. And so we are basically spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and from that invisible realm, hoping to bring it upon our physical realm, eventually we are surrounded by connection. We thrive on connection. I hope this finds you well, and be safe and be filled with joy, and I will see you next week, whenever I get the time again to post another video. Now sometimes I do miss a couple of weeks, it depends on my schedule, but you know, I'll be back when that makes it, when time in God allows. And I have a bunch of other topics that I've concocted, maybe folk tales, maybe some other stuff. But yeah, I'll be happy if you're interested to ask questions in the comment section. And if you're brand new and you don't know what this is about, just welcome. So thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Може би се след тебе тича не изгрес.